What if I told you that the way you see the world is just one version of reality? While we rely on our human eyes to navigate the world, many animals see in ways we can hardly imagine. An eagle can spot a rabbit from over a kilometer away. A bee sees patterns in flowers that are completely invisible to us, hidden in ultraviolet light. Snakes can see the heat coming off your body. Even in total darkness, the mantis shrimp sees colors we don't even have names for. These aren't just fun facts, they reveal something much deeper. Every species on Earth lives in its own version of reality, shaped by evolution and sensory power. What do cats see? What about dogs? Or even insects like dragonflies or jumping spiders? How do their eyes work? And can we learn from them to make our own vision better? Welcome to this episode. There's a lot that goes into an animal's eye. It needs to collect light, focus it onto a light-sensitive surface, and then convert that light into a signal that the brain can understand. But what exactly that signal means depends on how the creature interprets it. So, before we can answer what another animal sees, we need to figure out how its eye works. Eyes come in all shapes and sizes and are optimized for different environments. They can be big or small, bulging or tucked back into a socket. They can be on stalks or under bony hoods. And some animals have more than eyes, which presents its own set of advantages. But most eyes work along the same basic principles. At the front, there's a lens that focuses incoming light onto a layer of photoreceptor cells at the back. In vertebrates, these are called rods and cones. Rods are great at detecting motion and seeing in low light, but they don't see colors and they don't provide sharp images. Cones, on the other hand, see colors and provide sharp images, but they only work in bright light. Most animals have both types of photoreceptors, and where those photoreceptors are located in the back of the eye tells us something about the animal's vision. In humans and many other vertebrates, our photoreceptors face down, meaning that the image they form is upside down. That is fine because the brain automatically flips the image the right way around. So, we can interpret it. But other animals' photoreceptors point up, meaning they see the world upside down. And because they don't have brains like ours to flip the image, they see the world literally upside down. That doesn't seem to bother them, but it does mean that if we want to study their vision, we have to look at the world through their eyes, so to speak, by flipping the images we capture of them back right side up. Rods and cones send signals to the brain via neurons, nerve cells that carry messages between different parts of the body. The cells that connect to the rod send signals to the optic tectum, which is involved in processing motion, and the cells connected to the cone send signals to the optic tectum and the optic chiasm. The optic chiasm is where the nerves from each eye meet and partially overlap. This overlap allows the brain to combine visual input from both eyes and perceive depth. After passing through the optic chiasm, the signals go to the thalamus and then to the cortex, where they're interpreted as sights. But this system isn't perfect. There are limits to how fast signals can travel along a neuron, and there are gaps between the photoreceptors and the next layer of neurons. These limitations are true for all animals with similar eyes, including us. But some animals have evolved to overcome these limitations, like mantis shrimp, which have the fastest visual system on the planet. Mantis shrimp have 12 to 16 cone photoreceptors, which is more than the typical 3 or 4 that we have. And they send signals to the brain via a different part of the nervous system, the ventral nerve cord, which runs along the belly instead of the dorsal nerve cord that runs along the back. Scientists think that the combination of more photoreceptors and this alternate pathway allows mantis shrimp to take in visual information about 60 times faster than we do. But their vision isn't just speedy, it's also much sharper than ours. We can distinguish details as small as about 1 arc minute apart, but mantis shrimp can see details that are 10 times closer together, as well as details that are 40 times smaller. For reference, the width of a human hair is roughly 1/25th of an arc minute, so mantis shrimp can see something as thin as a human hair from roughly 8 miles away. That kind of resolution allows them to see things like tiny crustaceans hiding in the nooks and crannies of coral, and it lets them see fast-moving prey like fish eggs, which they eat, and it might help them spot predators like us looking to eat them. Their enhanced vision may even be an adaptation to living in such a cluttered environment. Since their eyes are so close together, about 7 millimeters apart, they would get in each other's way if they were any bigger. But having eyes that are close together allows them to see details really well, even if it means that they can't see very far. Mantis shrimp have a very wide field of view, but their vision is essentially restricted to what they can see directly in front of them. And mantis shrimp aren't the only animals who found clever ways to boost their vision. Dragonflies can see ultraviolet light, which is invisible to us. To do this, they have stacks of stacked ommatidia in their eyes. Ommatidia are the individual units of an arthropod's compound eye. Each ommatidium is made up of several photoreceptor cells and acts like a single lens. When stacked, ommatidia can reflect and amplify light, allowing them to see wavelengths that single lenses can't detect on their own. But dragonfly eyes still have blind spots, so they compensate by having more of them. We have one central blind spot where the optic nerve connects the eye to the brain. But dragonflies have up to 360 separate blind spots, one for each ommatidium. Each of these blind spots is roughly 12 arc minutes across. And with their hundreds of thousands of ommatidia, dragonflies can see almost the entire sky at once. This helps them hunt. They can track multiple prey items simultaneously and calculate where they'll be in the future. Dragonflies can see the future thanks to their super fast visual system. It takes only about 10 milliseconds for visual information to reach their brains, due to the speed of the neurons involved, and the fact that their photoreceptors are physically closer together than ours. This allows them to react quickly to changes in the environment like the movement of prey or a predator. The idea of seeing the future extends to other animals too. Jumping spiders have a similar setup. Their photoreceptors are super close together, only about 3 arc minutes apart, which gives them excellent resolution. It also gives them a nearly instantaneous visual system. They can respond to changes in their environment within 10 milliseconds, which allows them to judge distances really well. It's essential for jumping spiders because they rely on jumping to get around, and because they have first sets of eyes, to large forward-facing eyes and to smaller eyes on top. They have a nearly 360-degree field of view. Only what's directly behind them is a blind spot. All of these features allow jumping spiders to jump accurately from one place to another. If they could see the future like we do, they could jump up to 50 times their body length in a single leap. But they don't see the future by watching the present. Instead, they see the future by watching the past. They basically watch the trail left by a moving object and extrapolate where it will be in the future. And because they see trails left by moving objects, they can track up to 8 objects at once. But their eyesight isn't perfect. They have trouble distinguishing colors. Most land vertebrates have 3 types of cones, which allow them to see red, blue, and green. Jumping spiders only have one type. They can tell the difference between light and dark, but not between colors. However, they use another sense to make up for their poor color vision. Jumping spiders are attuned to the vibrations that they create when they jump. Using information from their jumps and their vision, they can map the space around them and identify targets for landing. Let's talk about birds of prey. Eagles and hawks have some of the sharpest vision on Earth. Their eyes have 4 to 5 times more visual acuity than ours. They can spot a rabbit from over a kilometer away. Their retinas are packed with cones, allowing them to see fine detail and detect ultraviolet light, which helps in tracking prey by following urine trails or feathers. What about bees, pit vipers, cats, and some fish? Bees don't see red, but they can see ultraviolet light, which is invisible to us. Many flowers have UV patterns guides that direct bees straight to the nectar. Pit vipers, like rattlesnakes, see the world differently. They use special heat-sensing pits near their noses to detect the infrared radiation emitted by warm-blooded animals. They can see heat in total darkness, forming a low-rays thermal image of their surroundings. Cats and owls are night hunters with exceptional low-light vision. Their eyes contain a reflective layer called the tapetum lucidum, which bounces light back through the retina. That's why their eyes seem to glow in the dark and why they can see in near total darkness. Some fish have adapted to see clearly in murky water, while deep-sea creatures detect the faintest glimmer of bioluminescence. Every animal sees the world in its own unique way, shaped by millions of years of evolution. What seems invisible to us may be obvious to them. Their senses aren't just different. They are superpowers. By decoding how animals see, we gain a deeper appreciation of the diversity and complexity of life on Earth. So, when we ask what another animal sees, the answer is complicated. It depends on the limits of their visual system and how their brains process the visual input they get. It also depends on what they need vision for. Eyes are the ultimate tool for hunting, hiding, finding your way around, or attracting mates. Evolution has shaped the eyes of every species to serve those functions in their particular environments. But maybe learning more about their vision will help us overcome the limits of our own. Like the mantis shrimp, we can develop cameras that can see polarized light or the details of microscopic structures. Or we can take inspiration from their compound eyes to create cameras that can see in many directions at once or see the past and the future. If you like this video, you can learn more about animals by checking out the link below. Thank you for watching. See you next time.